Welcome to our Timoney Leaders series. My name is Ronan O'Farrell, CEO of the Timoney Leadership Institute, and you're very welcome to our interview this week with Limavady-based entrepreneurs Ryan and Martin Tierney. It's a privilege to have you both on the webinar with us today. Ryan and Martin, along with their brother Jonathan, are directors and owners of Seating Matters, which is a manufacturer of clinical therapeutic seating for patients and caregivers in healthcare environments. Based up in Limavady, they've been making and exporting chairs around the world for 30 years and are passionate about getting the right chair for the right person, alleviating their discomfort, maybe from poor posture and unsafe seating. And during 2020, the brothers have launched Paragon Health, a manufacturer of PPE to supply medical face masks to healthcare customers, becoming only the second manufacturer of PPE on the island of Ireland. And it's a remarkable achievement in a very short space of time. We're going to delve into that story and also the great learning culture that you've co-created to extract some of the leadership lessons for our listeners. Now, if you have any questions or comments during the webinar, please do use the Q&A box at the bottom, and we will get to some of those questions. You can also upvote for questions that you would particularly like me to pose to Ryan and Martin. Now, Martin, you did the Timoney Advanced Leadership Program back in 2017, and you've been frequently back, continuing your learning and sharing great leadership insights with fellow alumni. Back at the start of the pandemic, you joined us for our first webinar when we were looking at how businesses were responding to the crisis as it was then. And I know at that point you rolled up your sleeves and were in the thick of coming up with innovative solutions to address some real problems that had emerged particularly in the hospital and healthcare sector, masks and so forth.
That's right. Yeah, by working in healthcare all of the time, we were right on the front edge of this, and we saw just the problems that there were with PPE. So we got involved in different projects and helped out as best we could to help people get off the ground with different projects. And part of the lean community of companies around the world, it's very much about the free sharing of information and ideas for the betterment of society. So yep, we helped in some of those projects, and then the opportunity came along to actually manufacture these Type 2R masks, the disposable medical masks that we're all too familiar with, and we just jumped straight into it. So it's been a roller coaster starting a business and hiring people and building a factory in the space of a few short months, and a real learning experience, if nothing else.
And you've just won your first big order from the Northern Irish Health Service as well. I saw you had the Minister for Health up there recently with you to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we were a contracted supplier to the health service in Northern Ireland. Ryan and I, our older brother Jonathan, is in the US, and he's working in the US and Canada on masks and on chairs and on everything as well. So yeah, we're very proud that we're now an exporter of PPE instead of being an importer only a few short months ago. You know, sending container loads of PPE around the world and bringing that employment and bringing those skills and that learning back here to really create an industry from scratch in the space of a few short weeks.
Well, Ryan, just on that, I mean, few short weeks, the speed at which you've started this and got it up and running, 8 weeks, as you were saying, from scratch.
That's right, yes. Yeah,
tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. From decision to manufacturing finished products was 8 weeks, which is really an unbelievable achievement. Looking back now, it's actually hard to comprehend how we did it. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of late nights and a lot of hard work. But I think much of our success was down to the team that we have here at Seating Matters, and it's the ongoing development of our people over the last, the years leading up to this. It allowed us to really excel and do what most people would take 6 months or a year to do. We done in a few short weeks. But it's a testament to our team it's a testament to the culture we've developed at Matters, and we were able to transfer that culture to our new company, Paragon Health. And yeah, it's really, really exciting.
Fantastic, fantastic. And we'll come to the culture in a little while, but what sort of support did you get, you know, from suppliers and customers and the local community, and in that helped you in that regard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. From my end of things, I managed the physical building of the factory. So we built a brand new factory in 8 weeks. The support we got from local contractors, local councils, and everyone was really on board with what we were doing. But I think it's the persistence was the key driver behind the whole thing. You know, when we take a notion that we're doing something, myself, Martin, and Jonathan, that's it. Once we make the decision, nobody will stand in our way. But we seen a need. We seen a need to help people. We seen a need to help people locally, and we had a very small window of opportunity to make it happen. And we said it's now or never. So we really got in gear and made it work.
Fantastic, fantastic, and reference there to outside support as well in getting it done. I mean, how important were those relationships that you already had with other businesses in the community and in helping you achieve that so quickly?
Yeah, well, I often think that I got the benefit from Timoney 2017 in 2020. The amount of phone calls that we made at 11 o'clock at night to people that we've become friends with through Timoney is just very, very valuable. This morning, we had a very, very productive meeting with someone that's solving a big issue for us that we have at the minute from a Timoney contact. And to me, that was invaluable. And things that I thought were abstract thoughts in some of the case studies that we were doing became dilemmas that we were facing here and now. You know, and I remember there was 2 lessons in particular. There was just days where you're thinking that was written for this day. So, and that's not an exaggeration. That's real life, and it's been a fantastic case study. The whole Paragon journey this year, and Matters as well. You know, the business model has had to change this year, and I know that was one of the recent seminars they did. You know, different business model, and it's just this business theory in action and putting it into action. It's definitely been a roller coaster. It really has.
Yeah. Well, it's I've taken note. I mean, there's a case study here or 2 that we need to write up while it's fresh in your mind, and because those learnings would be invaluable for others as well. Well, I mean, where many businesses were battening down the hatches trying to cope with just keeping their businesses running. I mean, even you mentioned it there with Seating Matters. What was the thought process going through your own heads in launching a new one? Did you think about it that much, or did you just see the need and go for it?
Honestly, a major driver in doing this was manufacturing in this country. You know, Ireland, the UK, Europe have lost expertise in manufacturing, and they've lost the ability to create value in a manufacturing environment. You know, East Germany invented melt blown material. You know, European companies invented the machinery and the technology to make these masks, and we gave it all the way to China. And procurement organizations, governments, they're all focused around, let's get a really, really low price. But if they pay £1 for something in China, that pound never comes back. If they pay £1.20 for that same thing in Ireland, that £1.20 stays in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll maybe buy raw materials from abroad. You maybe spend 10, 20, 30 pence getting raw materials from somewhere. But the vast majority of that's going to stay in the country for people to pay mortgages and houses, to buy cars, to eat in the local fish and chip shop. You know, that's the value of manufacturing in this country.
Yeah.
And when we were going begging to somebody on the other side of the world, please give us PPE, you know, it's just a ridiculous situation to be in. And there are plenty of people with foresight in procurement and in government that have saw this and that are correcting it. But I just hope that people don't have short memories. I
Yeah.
hope that people will remember that local manufacturing, local industry stepped up, and we're here to help the general public and to help our health services when they needed it most.
Yeah.
With that thought in mind, you know, we when no one was traveling, we jumped in the plane and we went to 6 countries in about 5 weeks to see factories, automation, raw materials, testing, test houses, laboratories. You know, we designed and built this machinery, as well as designed and built a factory, as well as got our testing done in just a remarkable short period of time. And that was the motivation behind it. I was in the town just last week, and yeah, the guy walked into the bank in front of me with a Paragon jacket, and he turned around and we were chatting a little bit, and I asked him what he was doing. He says, "Oh, I'm going into the bank." He says, "Me and my girlfriend are opening a new account, and this is the money. It's going to be the deposit in our first house." And I thought that's brilliant. You know, it's just it's just the moral of the whole story in one.
Yeah, fantastic. And that point, I'd forgotten that actually, that you weren't able to go out and buy the equipment to make these. You had to actually work out and design and get them manufactured so that you could produce these here in Ireland, because none of that was available.
No,
not for sale in Europe or indeed further afield.
No, all the technology was in China, and people were on YouTube University trying to figure out how to do this from videos. And you know, we worked with about 4 different suppliers to pull together these machines, and we were making, you know, to the tune of millions and millions of these masks a week, and we've employed 42 people. And we're not exactly Manhattan; we're out in the middle of nowhere here. So 42 people means a lot for this local area.
Community.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, really good. And just, I suppose, Ryan, for someone who's listening in who might be thinking of starting a new venture in 2021, what would you say is the most important thing you've learned as they embark upon it, given that you've done it in such a short space of time and so recently?
Yeah, I think there's something that we really believe in, and it's the psychology around business and the psychology around our thinking. It's something we've grew up with since we were very small. Our family, our parents were both involved in Amway, if you've ever heard of Amway. Mm-hmm. So when we were very young, we were going to seminars, we were listening to positive information and really trying to program our minds in a positive way. And I think one of the biggest takeaways of the Paragon process is what that has done for us as people and our team. You know, a goal isn't to reach the goal, it's what you become by reaching the goal. And the things we've learned, and actually even the confidence that has gave us to look at maybe bigger opportunities the next time. What else can we manufacture here in Northern Ireland? What other opportunities are out there? We've actually proven to ourselves that it can be done. It is possible to take what we call a quantum leap. So it's actually a book that I've got here in front of me. It's a book called U Squared.
Yeah. And
it's a book that I've been reading actually all this year. And that's really what we did. We did in 8 weeks what most people would take 3 or 6 or a year to do. So it's this idea of multiplying or taking a quantum leap, because there's nothing to say that it has to take 3 months, 6 months, a year to get from where you are to where you want to go. It can happen in a short space of time. And I think that's the biggest learning, the fact that we believe more in ourselves and our ability, and that belief and confidence, it's exciting to see where that'll take us in the future.
Fantastic, very good.
Yeah.
And not taking no for an answer. Remember, that was a point you made as well, Martin, a few months ago, about the whole time frame for getting things done has in some ways shortened because of people have seen the need to get things done really quickly. And
well, it just was impossible if it was going to take 12 months. It just wouldn't happen. We had to do it in 12 weeks or less. You know, it just had to be done. So there was no other choice. And it's amazing when you put your mind to something and you you can motivate a team of people around you, what actually can be achieved. And that's the big part of it as well. Like, our colleagues that work with us deserve more credit than we do. You know, the hours that they put in flying around the world, you know, speaking to suppliers and raw material, and you know, our colleagues deserve so much of the credit, because they're brilliant. And in a way, you know, we're respectful and good to the people that work with us. You know, we treat each other fairly, treat each other with respect. And I think this year everyone said, look, we'll step up. We know that there's big things need done here, and we'll do whatever it takes. Like on the week of St. Patrick's Day, every single person at Seating Matters cancelled their holidays and came into work. That's before lockdown and whatever. Every single person came in because they knew that we could be going into lockdown. People might need these products and they won't be able to get them. And they all come in and done their bit. That's just one example.
Yeah.
Great team of people, but it's the nurturing and growing of that team over many years that I suppose paid off in that period of crazy exertion that we went through.
Well, can we look a little bit more closely at that? I mean, the existing business that you mentioned there, Seating Matters, it's been going for some time, and you've I suppose embarked on continuous improvement, lean approach. Maybe it was 5 years ago, you were saying, Ryan. Which for many companies, when you mention that, it's kind of a long, elaborate process, months of training, very costly, and so forth. But you've really taken this on board, kept it very simple, and delivered fantastic results for not just the company, but for your colleagues, employees there working with you. Can you tell us a bit about that and what it actually means for Seating Matters?
Yeah, so actually 5 years this week, I came across a guy on YouTube called Paul Akers. And Paul Akers came up with this concept of 2-second lean. So really, if you haven't heard of lean manufacturing before, it's a philosophy that came from Japan over 80 years ago, from TPS, the Toyota production system. And it's really, to keep it really simple, it's about deciding what is valuable, what is value and what is non-value in every process that you make. So I don't care what business you're in, what industry you're in, every business has so much waste, it's unbelievable. And it's not necessarily the physical waste that you see in the bin. There's so many other wastes. There's actually 8 wastes. So lean is about extracting the non-value added activities out of every process you do to try and increase the value and serve the customer better. And I came across 2-second lean 5 years ago this week on seeing Paul Akers on YouTube. And as soon as I seen these videos, I was totally blown away. I was hooked, and I get really excited even talking about it. I sat up all night and watched these videos over and over and over again. And I reached out to Paul Akers, and we communicate probably almost every day. I'm very close to Paul Akers now. We have a good relationship. But really what we've done is built an organization, a lean organization, which has attracted over 150 companies from around the world to come and see what we've done. And we're nowhere near Japan or Toyota level, but we're doing a few things right. Mm-hmm. But really what we've done is created a culture of continuous improvement. Mm-hmm. It's not just myself and Martin and Jonathan and a few others. It's every single person in the company is engaged in continually improving their job every single day.
What does that mean in practice, Ryan, for your colleagues?
Yeah.
Or yourself? I mean, what when you say improving every day, because that's something I think everybody can identify with and aspire to.
Yeah. So every single thing we go through is a process. So if you're making a cup of tea, it's a process. If you're assembling a chair, it's a process. If you're getting prepared for the Zoom meeting, it's a process. So every single process can be improved. So we start off by educating our people at a morning meeting. So 8 a.m. to 8:20 every single morning is a meeting where everyone gathers around in a big circle, and we educate our staff on what waste is and how to eliminate it. So if you're hired at Seat Matters or Paragon Health, you're not hired as a welder. You're hired as a process engineer to improve the process of welding. So when we're welding a chair, we're not thinking, let's weld the chair. We're thinking, how can I improve this process? Where is my welding torch? Where is my job instruction? Where is my jig? Where's the placement of my tools? Where's my next? We're always thinking at a high level. And this is the difference in working at Seat Matters and working at what we would call a regular company. It's this idea that every single person is engaging their brain. We have 60 people continually thinking of a better way to improve their process, and it's just an unbelievable culture to be involved in.
Part of, yeah. Martin invited me up to attend one of your morning meetings there some time ago, and I know you mentioned there it's a very important part of the process and developing that culture. So can you describe a little bit what happens at that and what it achieves and why you do it every day?
Yeah, so it's Paul Akers reckons that lean is for 2% of companies, and that's why not everyone is able to pull this off. We've done 150 tours, as I said, for companies coming into SACE. I would say out of those 150, maybe 10 companies are doing lean at a really high level, because it's hard work that makes everything easy. It really is hard work. It all starts with educating your people. So our morning meeting starts every day with gratefuls. We start every day with gratitude. 3 people are selected from around the room to call out what they're grateful for. The next thing we do is morning stretches. The next thing we do is we review our improvement opportunities. So notice the word improvement opportunities, not mistakes, not defects. It's an improvement opportunity. So do we have any improvement opportunities from the day before? And if we do, it's a positive. So, okay, how can we improve it? We review our target. We review our favorite improvement from the day before. And it's actually interesting because a different person holds the morning meeting every day. And it just goes around in alphabetical order. So every single person in the company has a chance and does hold the morning meeting. So it's all about, gaining confidence, educating, encouraging public speaking. It's all about growing and developing the staff. And in turn, they improve the process, which improves the product and ultimately affects the customer. So it's really an amazing concept.
I just want to jump in there on something, because I don't want people to get the impression that we're hippies from the west coast of America who go about hugging each other all day. We do start the meeting with stretches. We do talk about what we're grateful for. We do have a fun company culture, but we're not hippies. We're country people from rural County Derry, and it's serious work, and we treat it seriously. And like we have boys here that come to work every morning at 5:30 because they're so dedicated in their work, and the lights will be on here to 7, 8, and 9 o'clock at night. We're serious about work, and we take it seriously because it's a serious product. We're protecting nurses and doctors and healthcare professionals, and we're serving patients with disabilities. But what the meeting is about, and the gratitude and the respect and the building of the culture, it's treating people the way they should be treated. It's treating people with respect. And that's where lean came from. Lean came from the Japanese culture of respect, where the child bows to the teacher, but the teacher also bows to the child. They have an equal degree of respect for each other. And in Seat Matters and Paragon, we all dress the same. We all have the same working hours. We all eat at the same canteen. Everybody takes the meeting. There's no, he wears a shirt and he wears steel-toe boots, or, I've got a degree and he's got this. Everyone is treated with an equal level of respect. And that means that everyone's idea can be presented to help improve the product, to help serve the customer better, because everyone understands, if I look after my colleague, if we look after the building, if we look after the product, then the company will be more successful. It'll be more profitable. We'll be able to help more people, and we'll all have long-term stable employment. Wow. So it's a bit of crack, and we need to have fun when we're doing it, but it's a very serious thing behind it.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, just on that, like we all seem to be born with the gift of being able to complain about things that that aren't working or that aren't good. But to find solutions, is that a special kind of person, or because you mentioned everybody is involved in that?
Yeah.
How do you get to that stage where everyone is contributing solutions and improvements?
We've new people started and they're nearly scared to come up with a solution because in the previous place that they work, they're told, sure, we've never done it like that. Or, just do it the way it's been done. Or the last time they tried something, it went wrong and it cost the company money. And some manager came and roared the head off at them. Or they were talked about at the meeting. Or, oh, we lost money because they made a defect over there. And it reduces people's creativity and they get more and more insular in themselves. Where we nearly have to like knock somebody in the head to say, here, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to contribute. It's okay to change things because that's where the ideas come from.
Very good, very good. And how important is communicating those improvements as well? I know you make use of WhatsApp and other measures like that.
That's right. Yeah. So we have a shared WhatsApp group. Everyone in the company is on the group, and every time someone makes a lean improvement, it's shared with the whole group. So it's a process called yokaten. It's actually a Japanese term for sharing knowledge laterally across an organization. So if someone makes a really good improvement in the sewing area, that same idea could be transferred to the upholstery area, for example. So it's sharing ideas across the team and giving everyone, I suppose, a voice and an outlet for their creativity. And it's also a lot of it's down to appreciation. We are so big on appreciating, and we give shout outs at our meeting every day because people will do more for appreciation than they will for money. We've found that over and over again. So, and the other thing is the bar is set so low, like anything is an improvement. It's a 2-second lean improvement and everyone can find an improvement that's going to save them 2 seconds. So the bar is set so low that every single person can be engaged straight away.
Brilliant, brilliant. So Martin, what's your improvement today?
I made a shortcut actually on my phone today for something that I keep typing over and over and over again, where there's a little shortcut where I can type in like 131 and that pulls up our address, 131 Carnarvon Floodland, Nevada County Derry, BT49AGG, type in 131. So that saves me multiple seconds.
Right.
So that was mine. Ryan probably is 20.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, it's clear you both have a great attitude towards improving and learning. How important do you think it is to keep learning as leaders?
Yeah. Well, with another brother, Jonathan, and every time you phone him, he says, "Oh, if you finished that last book I told you about, I have another book here." And I'm like, "No, I didn't even get the first one bought yet." Jonathan's is crazy, like a book every few weeks or a book every month or something. And like we've all heard the phrase that anything that's ever happened has been written down in a book, or any problem that's ever been solved, someone has written about it. But that really it really is true. And like again, back to Timoney, I think Timoney is a brilliant experience for me. I've never worked anywhere else. I've never seen anybody else run a business the way we're running it. I never went to university. Jonathan, Ryan, and myself left school when we were 16 and 17 years old. So everything we've learned it from our parents, or we've learned it from ourselves. So books, YouTube videos, audiobooks, going to Timoney, they're very, very valuable things, definitely. But the right mix of action and study.
Yes.
Yeah.
And seeing, I mean, obviously you're learning about things, that solutions for could be technical problems or organizational problems, but your own sort of journey of self-development seems to be a key part of the central element of what you're about as well. It's
yeah, very, very much so. Yeah. I think it's so important. Like we've mentioned our parents. We're grateful to grow up in the environment that we did, where we were encouraged and supported, but made to work as well. Our father worked in Dublin for 6, 7, 8 days straight, and he used to take us with us out of primary school, to push a wheelbarrow or to put down concrete or whatever it was. So like we're very grateful for that. And Ryan and I both have children. You know, it's something that we're very conscious that you have to instill in them as well, because there's lots of very educated people out there, but people that are people of action are becoming maybe a little bit fewer and farther between.
And you started this early on, in that I think you had a turf cutting business, isn't that right?
That's right. That was our first enterprise, yeah. So Jonathan, Ryan, and myself have been in business for nearly 30 years because we were cutting turf. We subcontracted the cutting of the turf to our father because he had a tractor, and we turned and footed and bagged the turfs ourselves. And because none of us could drive, we got our mother to drive us around the town at night to deliver them, you know. And we probably lost more money than we made, but it was the lesson behind it. It wasn't for the money that we made; it was for the learning that.
The learning
came from.
Yeah,
definitely. Mm-hmm.
And you've I mean, as you said there at the start, it's 3 years ago since you did the leadership program, and there are now sort of 300 leaders in that network. You've found that particularly helpful in launching a new business and running Seeking Matters.
Yeah, definitely. Like as Ryan said, we're very open about what we do. You know, we have dozens and dozens and dozens of companies come here to visit. I see John Connell's on the call here, and what he's done at CW Applied Technologies is amazing from a lean perspective. Just transformed the business, done amazing things in a short period of time. And we learned so much from John and from John's people. And, you know, I hope he learned something from us as well. But
well, that's what got him started, I think, was seeing how you were doing it and hearing how you did it.
Yeah. But if John had never come to visit us, he might never have learned that, and we might never have learned what we learned from him in return. So, yeah, the group of people, the network around you, and I suppose we're open to helping others. And then I suppose when we ask for help, people are happy enough to give it as well, because maybe we've helped them somewhere along the line from a lean perspective in particular.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, you're clearly brothers, but you bring different skills to the table. How are you different?
Yeah, I think it's something that happened very naturally, and it happened very early on in Seeking Matters about 12 years ago. I was predominantly manufacturing production. I love getting into the middle of things. Martin, very much marketing, sales, technical, all that type of stuff. And Jonathan is a salesperson through and through. He would sell you his shoes. He's just born to sell. So it was a really good mix, and none of us were forced into any area. It really works very well, and it always has worked. But I think the main key to why it does work is communication. And it's something we're actually very good at. There isn't a day goes past where we don't do a three-way call. You know, I was talking to Jonathan 3 times today already, and he's in America. It's very rare that a day would go past where we're not on the phone. And everyone, we almost know what each other's thinking. It's strange. You know, Martin will lift the phone to phone me, and I'll just be about to phone Martin and talk to him about the same thing that he was going to tell me about. And the same happens with me and Jonathan, and the same with Martin and Jonathan. So we've got a really close, tight-knit relationship, and everyone has their areas, and it really works well, yeah.
And for a family-owned business, I mean, we all know that they can be quite challenging, and you know, disagreements and so forth. How do you go about resolving those?
Well, the HR policy can be cutthroat at times, so it can. It's just direct, you know, like brothers. You discuss the thing and you shout about the thing, and then you get on with it. You know, that's probably something we can get better at too. But you know, it works really well. I think the big thing is you trust each other implicitly. You know, I'm not wondering what they're doing, and they're not wondering what I'm doing. We're all aligned exactly on the same route, and we might do it 3 different ways, but the average of the 3 different ways is probably the best for us. You know, so yeah.
Compromise and communication.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fantastic. And I suppose just to go back to something you were saying there earlier, which I was quite struck by, Martin, about you've reintroduced manufacturing here in Ireland for something that was coming exclusively from China. Plane loads was being brought over here, and it is a trend that's been commented on that companies are looking at de-risking their supply chain, not being so dependent on manufacturing coming from far away and bringing closer to their markets.
Yeah.
What do you think needs to be done here in Ireland to really encourage more entrepreneurs like yourselves to get into manufacturing and to get it supported so that it thrives here?
I think a lot of it can be driven by public policy and procurement policy. That like in America, for the veterans hospitals, they've got legislation which states that 20% of their hospital budget has to be spent on veteran-owned small businesses. Now, imagine an organization, a governmental organization at home said, we have to spend 20% of our budget on a local small business or on something which is manufactured, locally. And yes, it might fly in the face of European legislation and whatever, but there's ways around these things. But supporting that indigenous manufacturing, I see it as the long-term future of a country. Services and all that are great, but the services have to provide a service to someone. And agriculture and manufacturing are a really strong base for that. And like COVID was like war times. When the war happened, people were planting vegetables in their garden. If that happened today, there'd be a line outside Tesco's because people don't know how to do those things. So manufacturing might not be cool and it might not be sexy, and nobody that gets full marks in their exams would send their child off to work in a factory, but they probably should. And in Japan, like one of the highest, most respected places to work is Toyota and Lexus, because it's manufacturing and they understand. They have a deep respect for people that work in the manufacturing industry. So I think, public policy, public opinion towards manufacturing, it should be encouraged. Yeah. And
putting a value, I suppose, on that kind of work and other frontline work, which maybe in this one good thing about 2020 is a spotlight has been shined on just how valuable that work is in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Fantastic, great. So what are the main lessons from 2020 that you're taking with you into 2021? Ryan?
I would say the main takeaway is that I think people have more potential than they think. If it wasn't for this pandemic, we probably wouldn't have started a new business this year. We were very much seat matters, chairs, supplying a particular market. But I think people have more potential, that they really do have more potential than they think they have. And we're almost limited sometimes by our own mind. And when we release those limitations, it really is unbelievable what you can achieve. So that would be my one takeaway from this year.
Fantastic, very positive growth mindset to that as well, to that approach. And Martin, would you have anything to add?
Yeah, very, very similar. And I suppose on a bigger level, there's nothing that we as a society or as a country couldn't do. There's nothing that we're buying from somewhere else or outsourcing to somewhere else that couldn't be manufactured or supplied here just as good or better. So I hope it'll make people reevaluate the way business is conducted, the way life is conducted, and make a more permanent change to our behaviours as things go forward.
Fantastic. Well, Seamus Redden, one of our alumni, has made a comment on the Q&A there. I think sums things up quite well. All of you have great engines in you, and he can't see anything but great success for you all in the future. So I have to echo that. That's very true. Well, thank you both very much for sharing both your leadership insights and experience over this past year, and thank you for supplying masks amongst many other things to us all here in Ireland, which is great, both north and south.
Yeah, and on the lean side of things, on continuous improvement, you know, our doors are still open. Maybe not to a physical visit, but anyone that is interested in learning about that, or has maybe started in the journey and they're stuck and they don't know what to do, would be happy to speak to them.
That's very generous of you. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure that will be appreciated.
Pass our mobile numbers and emails out to anyone that's on this, and they're welcome to get in touch with us.
Fantastic. Great. Well, thank you both for that. Well, Christmas is beckoning and 2021 is ahead of us. So this is our final webinar in Timoney before breaking for the Christmas. We'll be back in the new year, renewed hopefully, and ready to face what 2021 will bring us. We have an exciting lineup of learning events coming up online in the first couple of months, but then back in person as soon as it's safe and reasonable to do so. But our webinars, podcasts, online masterclasses and programs will all be running from early in the new year. Next year is also going to be an important year, I think, for reconnecting in person and rebuilding our network of contacts. And we look forward in Timoney to helping you achieve that and to build on the important lessons that we've all learned from what has been and hopefully remain an extraordinary year that we've just been through. Today's session with Martin and Ryan will be available as a podcast, and you'll be able to access it on all the main podcast channels. Also, listen out for our series of short 5-minute podcasts featuring Joe Osborne's book, Poise and Stride, where he relates leadership insights that are great for feeding your mind and soul over the weeks ahead. So take care and have a very happy and peaceful Christmas with your loved ones. And thanks again to Martin, Ryan Tierney for joining us, and to Alison and Claire and the Timoney team for hosting the webinar today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.